Hey everyone, it's Tommy from the Goalie Crease Network, and I know many of you have been waiting a long time for this review, so I'm very excited to be able to show you guys the Bauer TotalOne NXG pads. So, let's get started. So let's start with the leg pads. Now, the leg pads, they say that this has a regulated flex and that the core was specially modified to allow for more flex. However, I have really found that these pads are extremely stiff. And you know me, I like a break below the knee. I like quite a bit of flex there, and these have probably the least amount of flex I have tried yet. So, if I flip the pad over here and I go to squish it down, it takes quite a bit of effort to get it to go down. So, this is a very stiff pad. Now, even in the boot area, there's maybe a little bit more flex, but again, this isn't really an area that I even want to flex. I let it sit up on my boot, so that's not really that big of a concern for me. Now, along with the flex, it is an extremely hard pad. So the front of the pad right here, there is not any give at all. And so those pucks go flying off the front of this pad. So if you're a butterfly goalie who likes those pucks to just fly past the slot and give you a little bit more time to recover for that next shot, this is definitely a perfect pad for you. If you're a goalie that likes those rebounds to sit right in front of you, this is definitely not the pad for you. And that's okay. Now if we flip the pad over, we can see that this leg channel has quite a bit of room in it. And so there is a little bit of tightness that you can get. There's a lot of adjustability here, and that is one thing I really like in this pad. So you have a lot of different options, whether it's in the calf, the knee, or even adding some straps up top. Now you can see right here, I went ahead and cut off the adjustable straps that were at the top because I knew that I didn't want them. I also cut off the straps that were on the side here because I knew I didn't want those either. So I tried to strap these as close as possible to the other pads that I really like, and it works pretty well. Now, one thing I did find with these pads is that when I tried to strap it like Carey Price, and that means down to the calf, it actually made this pad rotate a little bit, and so I had to continue strapping it up here at the knee, which I'm not used to, but it still worked really well even though it was extremely tight. Now also in this knee area is this EVA comfort foam. And so you guys know me, I like to cut out pretty much the entire knee lock. I'll keep this pad over here, but I usually cut all of this out because I really think that this is a vestigial organ of goaltending. We don't go down flat on our pads anymore, so this part isn't necessary. But I do think it's a nice touch to allow the comfort foam over here because it is extremely soft. And so as you go down in your butterfly, you're still going to maintain your height, but you have a little bit of comfort here. So that's really nice, especially in tournaments and in drills. Now, one thing that can be very good or very annoying, depending on your preference, these straps are crazy long. So what I would really like to do is go ahead and cut these down to the length that I like, but I still wanted to show you guys first exactly how long they are. And they are very long all throughout the pad, and there are lots of holes so that you're able to adjust them however you want. Now, for me, I like to strap this top one at 8, so that's starting from the outside, so I go to about 8, and then we go down to 5 for the calf because you want that one to be tighter for more control, and then we go to 7, and then the last one here on the boot strap, I still go to 8 because I want a little bit more control, and that's a very big difference than the pads that I'm used to, where I leave that one a little bit more loose, but even at 8, it's still pretty loose. Now, one really cool thing about these leg pads too is you can actually undo the entire boot strap. So you can remove it if you don't like the boot strap, or if you like to put it all the way in the back like Lundqvist, you can certainly do that in these pads because of that length. So it's a good thing overall. It's a little annoying for me because I'd probably go ahead and cut those down. I don't like a lot of extra length, but I think it gives you guys a lot of different options. Now, I think the glove is probably the best thing in the entire set. Now, part of that is probably because I use the 590 brake in my Reebok and my CCM gloves. And the Bauer TotalOne NXG glove comes stock as a 590 brake, or at least as similar as you can. So it's a closure that, as you see here, has a very 590-like closure. It's extremely straight, which allows for a lot of great stick handling. I didn't have one issue stick handling with this glove, especially as I got used to it, and it worked out perfectly well. Now you can also see in this pocket area, it's very 590-like as well. It has a very deep pocket, as you can see there, and even the closure of the pocket here is very 590-like. Now, as far as protection goes, this glove was definitely top-notch. Now, one thing is, it comes standard with the Pro Palm, And they also have what's called the composite curve that allows you additional protection in here while still allowing quite a bit of flexibility, which is really nice. Now, you can see here that I got used to the curve pretty quickly because most of the pucks went into the pocket. You can see a little puck mark right there and a few over here, but the vast majority of the puck marks didn't come in the palm like you see on a lot of gloves that I use. They pretty much all went straight in the pocket, which is extremely nice. Now, if we take the glove off and we look at the back, I would say this portion right here is good and bad. Now, the good about it is it allows you a lot of airflow. So your hands never really get that sweaty in these gloves because that cold air is going to be coming into your glove, and this still allows for a lot of protection. Now, the bad part, and this is purely my preference, aesthetic-wise, the black bean here throws me off. I wish it was white and then it would match with the glove a little bit better. Having that huge black portion right here in an otherwise red and white glove is a little annoying, but I completely understand that if the foam is black and if the thread is black, well, it's going to look black. But I still wish they would have either made that white or made some sort of covering that would still allow for that airflow, but still allow for the aesthetics that really match the glove. Now, for the back of the glove, I wanted to show you one more thing, because this cuff is extremely different than most other cuffs out there. Now, I generally play with a glove that has a very solid cuff, and I kind of like that because it allows you a lot of protection. Now, at the same time, this cuff allows you a more fingers up approach to your catching style. So if you're a fingers up goalie, you're not going to have any problem at all getting that fingers up position, because this portion right here is going to come up and allow for your glove to go up and your chest protector to go right there, and it works out really well. The downside is that if you're not a fingers up goalie, this portion can get caught on your chest protector occasionally, and I'm sure after some time of using it regularly, it probably breaks in a little bit better, but that is still a concern, and occasionally I would feel it hang up on my chest protector just a little bit. Now, when it comes to the blocker, this is easily the lightest pro-style blocker I've ever felt. And you can see here, it's extremely easy to use. There's a lot of flexibility in the cuff, which I absolutely love. It's a very open cuff, and it's still very protective. Now, you guys know the blocker test that I like to use every time. And one thing about the Bauer blocker is it is extremely balanced, but because it is so light, you can easily tip it either way, and there's not really a lot of force either way, so it tends to be a very loose blocker, as you can see here. I'm not wiggling my hand that much, and the blocker kind of goes all over the place. So if you like a tighter fit, you're probably going to want to make sure that you do this up and the wrist strap up so it's pretty tight. And I have smallish hands anyway, so it's not really that big of a concern for me. But you can see here that I took quite a few puck marks off the sidewall. Again, not a big deal because this is so protective, but nonetheless, I did have some issues here just because the blocker is so light. It was kind of difficult to get used to it sometimes. Now, one other thing I really like to point out about blockers is the sidewall protection and the way that it actually protects your fingers. So one really cool thing about the Bauer blocker is that it allows for a lot of flexibility in here so that you can really grip that stick. It kind of slides up a little bit, but it still protects your entire finger, which is absolutely awesome. You can see there's additional finger protection on the inside and then more finger protection on the front. And that lays really flat, so if you're a goalie who goes down in the paddle down quite often, this is going to lay down flat. This is going to lay down flat as well, getting you optimal coverage for those low shots. Now, one last thing about the blocker is the palm. And this is a Nash material that actually has some grip right here in the index finger and a little bit at the top, and then also in the actual grip area. So that's really nice to be able to maintain grip on your stick, especially if you're like me and I don't put tape on my stick in the grip area. This still allows you a lot of grip within that area. Now, the last thing I really want to mention about these Bauer TotalOne NXG pads is about the vintage option. Personally, I think Bauer does vintage the best. I mean, this is an absolutely classic design that's modern and updated, and especially with the updated logo right here, it's just an absolutely classy pad. So I've really enjoyed using this set. It is extremely different than what I'm used to, even in a pad that allows for more rebounds, that really kicks those rebounds out. This one is definitely the one that is just the most solid, the hardest, and really kicks those rebounds out pretty much as far as you can try. So if you like a pad that's like that and that's pretty stiff, I would definitely say this is the pad for you. And at the same time, if you like the 590 style glove, I definitely think this is probably the glove for you if you wanted to switch to Bauer. And like I said, this is definitely the lightest blocker I've ever used when it comes to a pro style blocker. That can be good and bad depending on what your preference is, but I still think it's pretty awesome, and I'm going to continue using it as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the review. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how you like the Bauer TotalOne NXG pads. So good luck, and I'll see you out on the ice.